People look at me funny, right? Because I'm an Indian guy, but I live in America and they think I'm Mexican. People come up to me and they're like, "Vatos locos," however you say hello, you know? I don't know. And I'm like, "Hola," you know? Nice to meet you. But those are the first people to accept me, so I've become friends with them, and I like to get under their tortilla, if you know what I mean, you know? Because they think their food is the best, right? But we all know that salsa is just unblended chutney, right? And they think they're the best because they wrap their foods, the burrito, and it's like, buddy, you ever heard of roti? We've been wrapping food. But then it hit me, it was like, no, it's the Arabs. The Arabs, they wrap everything. They do, even their women. They wrap everything. Imagine they celebrated Christmas, how much they wrap their gifts, right? It'll take forever to open, and when you do, you're like, hummus again? It's cool, because you know, America and Canada, we're so close, but like their culture and history is like we just know it as Canadians, we just know it. But sometimes we forget, because we also know our own culture, and we also know our own history. And on my first day in America, I met this black comic, and he looked at me and said, "Hey, what kind of brown are you?" And that's not an offensive question, but the guy I was with, obviously a white guy, he got offended on my behalf, right? It's not an offensive question. It's the same thing as when you drive by a house with a pride flag. You never wonder what kind of gay lives in there. You know what I mean? Could be any of them, right? There's so many letters, is what I'm trying to say, right? But I told him I was an Indian guy. And then I looked at him and I was like, so what kind of black are you, right? Because in Canada, that's a normal question. They'll tell you exactly what kind of black they are, the Jamaican, Nigerian, whatever. This guy looked at me and went, I'm from Minnesota. I was like, brother, you should not be from Minnesota. You know? It snows there, you know? But I forgot about slavery or whatever, because I'm Canadian, you know? It's different, right? After that show, somebody came up to me and told me, you got a very Muslim face. And I responded very poorly. I was like, fuck you, buddy. You got a very Christian neck, right? Fuck this guy. But that was me being a little bitch. I have a very Muslim face, right? I just didn't like the way he said it to me, the lighting we were in, you know? But then it hit me, it's not just me that was being a little bitch. We're all little bitches. All of us have become little bitches to everything. We're afraid. We're afraid to say things. Like if you were to meet a Chinese person and you were like, hey, are you Chinese? And they're like, how did you know? You gotta be like, I don't know. Your vibe, you know? Thighs, but you can't say that. You can't say that. You get in trouble. I'm trying to do more things that I did in Canada, in America, to help me transition over to being more comfortable. Like I camp. I'm an Indian guy that camps. And obviously people look at me funny when I camp. It's only white people, they're the only other people camping, right? And I'm not trying to talk shit, I love white people, I perform for white people around North America. It's just a different energy in the woods, you know? They look at me in such a way, they're like, the fuck's the Circle K guy doing all the way out here? It's a bad vibe. They look at me like, what's in that backpack, right? I'm like, buddy, you're wearing the same exact backpack as me. And then I blow them up, right? And no, none of us have backpacks. I like to camp because my favorite thing to do is I like to smoke weed and I like to eat mushrooms, right? So I'm like the last guy standing above the fire just staring at the moon, right? And I don't know if you guys been paying attention, but you guys been paying attention to the birds? The birds are waking up earlier. They're waking up at like 1:30, bro. I'm not the bird police. I could give a fuck what time the birds get up. But 1:30 is way too early. Like you just went to bed, you know? Growing up, the birds used to wake up at 5. That's how you knew you were home late. The birds were up. Now they're getting up at 1:30. Maybe it's not concerning, but I'm flying on mushrooms. Do you understand? I'm tripping, all right? And thank God we live in a timeline where if you want to know something right now, you can know it right now. How sick is that? Anything you want to know, you could just know it. You could just Google it. I grew up in the 90s. In the 90s, if you had a thought and you didn't know, you know what you did? You fucking moved on with your life, all right? You were like, this thought? Not for me, right? And then you just fucking existed, right? And now you can just know everything. So I Googled it. I was like, yo, Google, what's up with these birds, right? Except I didn't say it like that. I opened ChatGPT and I was like, yo, ChatGPT, what's up with these birds? Say it better, right? And then I copied that into Google, right? And Google said there is something indeed up with these birds, all right? They said that the climate is changing, that the poles are shifting, and birds are migrating at rates they never migrated at before, from locations they never migrated from before. So birds are in fact waking up earlier. And we've all heard the term, the early bird gets the worm, right? But the thing is, all these goddamn immigrant birds come in here, right? Waking up at 1:30 in the morning, right? Taking all the goddamn worms. And all the birds that have been here the whole time, they wake up at 5, all right? And now they're waking up and there's no more worms because these goddamn immigrant birds, they took our worms. But thank God we got Daddy Trump in office. He's gonna build us a sky wall, all right? Keep them out. I do stand-up comedy, so I wake up in the morning, I sit down, I wait for nighttime, you know? I have more free time than the average man, you know? Like you guys have jobs? That sucks, bro. Imagine working, right? I've done enough mushrooms to know that none of us should have jobs, right? Like I used to work in an office. Anybody work in an office? You see how sad you are? Working in an office is the worst thing in the world. It sucks. You're there early in the morning, your shirt is tucked into your pants, your arm can only go up to here, right? You're looking across the room at somebody you absolutely hate, and you're like, morning? Shoot me in the face, bro. If I ever have to morning somebody. I used to work in an office, I spent 99% of my time faking taking a shit, all right? Legit, I would bring an extra pair of shoes to shit with, so you can never match the shit shoes with the office shoes. The whole time you'd be looking in there like, who is that? I'm like Batman, bro, right? I was coming to work with a duffel bag every day, and people are like, yo, are you working out before work? I'm like, yeah, no big deal. But really, it's just my shit shoes, right? Like, I bought those shoes specifically to shit with. I walked into Foot Locker, and I was like, yo, my guy, what's a good shoe for sitting down? What the guy said to me blew my mind. He's like, yo, bro, literally any shoe. That's so profound. I never thought of it like that. It makes perfect sense. That's why people in wheelchairs always have the freshest shoes. Putting brand new shoes on a guy in a wheelchair is like taking a toy and putting it in a glass case, right? It's protected forever, bro. Be honest, you ever seen a guy in a wheelchair with dirty shoes? No. Because it's fucking suspicious. You're like, what the fuck's going on here? Old shoes, new chair. Which one is it? It's one of them, and I don't trust you. My dad's birthday's coming up. Sick, thank you. I don't know what to get my dad because buying a gift for a person is hard. You ever give somebody a gift? And they're like, yeah. You're like, buddy, I spent 20 minutes in Walmart looking for that. You don't care? Buying a gift for your dad is especially hard because, like, we all have father. Every single one of us is here because our fathers went, And the thing is, no matter what your relationship is with your father, good or bad, that was the best you ever made him feel, right? So what can I give this man, you know? That'll feel as good as the first time I came flying out of his balls. There's nothing. There's nothing I can give this man. I could jerk him off, right? But me and my dad, we don't have that kind of relationship. You know? My dad's kind of a piece of shit, you know? But he's a good guy at the same time. You could be both, you know? Like you ever met an asshole and you're like, this guy's an asshole. But then you meet a funny asshole and you're like, this guy. That's my dad. He's a huge misogynist, but a banger's a banger. What are you gonna do, you know? If it's funny, it's funny. His favorite thing to say growing up was, woman driver, no survivor, right? And I don't care what gender you are, that's good stuff, right? That's good stuff. Guys, my name is Nitish Sakhuja. You've been an amazing audience. Thank you so much. Have a good night.